guys, welcome back to Fit Trends with Presley Christine. Today's going to be a little bit more of, I guess, a serious episode. Of course, I got my dark sense of humor from working in 911, so I'm still going to crack jokes because I'm that kind of person. But it is going to be about a little bit more serious of an issue this time. I think when you think fitness and health, you forget a big aspect of health is mental health. So, with my lovely co host Karen over here, we are going to talk about mainly mental health when it comes to motherhood. So, motherhood, mental health today. How do you feel about that topic, Miss Karen?
Um, I, I love the topic as much as it sounds weird to say because I think that there needs to be more of an awareness about it and people need to know that they're not alone and that our mental health matters as mothers.
It's a big stigma, and I didn't even realize there was a stigma until you become a mother, and then you're like, well, I don't really want to tell anyone like I'm having these issues because you immediately jump to, I think, like the lady who drives her and her kids into the lake in the car, and like you think people are gonna think you're gonna like
Right.
hurt your kids or something, you know? There's so much more to that spectrum than like going all the way, because that's called postpartum psychosis. That's a whole different thing. That's just not just
Right.
like depression. That's like you've gone way too far to the end of the spectrum. But there's so much more to it than just like jumping straight to hurting your kids, you know?
Right. But you know what? That postpartum psychosis is real life too. I mean, that's scary. As a mental health nurse, I've had patients that have experienced that. And yeah, it's a total, total different
Obviously,
diagnosis.
like don't be ashamed if you're feeling either one, but like don't be afraid that as soon as you bring it up someone's going to jump straight to that extreme, because that's obviously not
Right. And to know that
the
you can get
most
help.
cases.
Yeah. And that there's help available. Cause like I feel like a lot of it for us, like we get tired. Like it's your body goes through a lot. And
Those first
like
couple months, man, I thought I was going to lose my mind.
girl, like yeah, I was, well, and it's hard too, because when you have a mental health, like diagnosis, or you're struggling with your mental health prior to pregnancy, then it just, I don't, what do you want to say, like worsens or like after,
Yeah.
because you're not sleeping, you're not taking care of yourself, you're putting other people before you now, you know what I'm saying? Like,
And see, it was
yeah.
kind of the opposite for me. So, as a kind of prevalence for me, I had the opposite. I had always known that I was super fortunate in the fact that I had never really struggled with mental health ever. I had a lot of friends that struggled with it, and I'd had kind of a tumultuous, I don't know how to say that word correctly, childhood, lots of drug addiction and abuse and stuff growing up, my family. And so I had always known that I was pretty lucky to have had the strong mind that I had and not ever had any issues. And postpartum hit me like a brick to the face. Like, I because I had always internalized everything growing up in that way, because I didn't really have anyone to talk to because everyone was off doing all their stuff they shouldn't have been doing. And so I always relied on myself, especially mentally. If I was having a bad day, I figured out a way to make myself feel better. So when it came down to I had the twins, and then all of a sudden you got all those hormones fucking trying to wiggle themselves out or whatever they're doing, and you start feeling these thoughts. And my thoughts were mainly just towards myself. Like I felt like, I mean, it would get to the point where sometimes I felt like, oh, maybe my two miscarriages were a sign that I'm not supposed to be a mom. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe my kids deserve a better mother. Should I put them up for adoption or some shit? Because like I'm struggling. I don't enjoy this. I thought, after losing two babies and wanting this so bad, I thought I would enjoy this more, and I'm not enjoying it. And maybe that's a sign. Like it was all really internal. Absolutely love my children, and I loved them from the moment I saw them, but I wasn't enjoying it the way like I thought I would. And so I was like, maybe this is a sign. Like maybe I'm not supposed to have kids. Like,
Yeah, no, I think those are all true. Like you said, like your hormones are trying to adjust. And then you know, add breastfeeding on top of that. There's even, you know, all these extra hormones. And like I don't know, like, and I do, well, obviously as twin moms, like we're like, what you, like it's different. Like you have one baby, but then you have like two people you have to try to keep alive and make sure they're fed and diaper, you know what I'm saying? So that is a
Yeah.
lot. Like I want to get on a whole twin mom segment. Maybe we'll save that for later. But like, girl, like that's a lot mentally, anyways, you know?
Double the amount of hormone that's trying to freak itself out.
Right.
It was a lot that I wasn't ready for that aspect. And then, you know, the aspect that I really wasn't ready for, and I think this is a portion of motherhood mental health that never gets talked about. People talk about like the depression aspect a little bit, like it's starting to become a little more prevalent, and they talk about that stuff. But what completely gets ignored is the new you that you have to try and find.
Right.
All of a sudden you're thrust into, when you become a mother for the first time, you're thrust into this totally different you that you have to become. And then you're trying to figure out like, okay, who do I want to be? Am I still the same person just was a baby? Who, like, this person that I think I should be, is that really who I am? Like there's this whole like almost like a midlife crisis going on mentally. And that was a big thing for me that I didn't know was a thing until it happened. Then I was like, okay, is who I am like who I want to be, or do I want to be someone else? Or the me that I always wanted to be, am I still going to be that person? Or do I have to be something else now that I'm a mom? Like, you know, like,
Girl, yeah. I'm like, I don't, I didn't know who I even was before I became a mom, I don't think. So I'm still like, I'm figuring that out at this age, like now, like I'm done with babies. So like, I'm like, all right, now I feel like now it's time for me to actually figure out who the heck am I and who am I outside of being a mom? Because I feel like for me, all I've ever really known was being a mom, you know? So yeah, I feel like I could relate, but not relate in an aspect because I'm like, that's all I've ever really known. So
well,
I'm
and
like,
that, I
what?
think that comes from you becoming a mom so young too.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like
So it's almost like you don't even have the chance to find yourself yet because you've just like
right.
went straight from like teen to mom, and
Yes.
that's all you've ever
Yes.
known.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And it has its pros and cons for sure. Like you saying, okay, now you're a mom. And I'm like, and you're like, all right, now who, yeah, because like you have these people that need you. So it's like,
And it's a real juggle because you're like, I think there's a big stigma to motherhood when it comes to, okay, you just got to like drop everything and everything's for the
right,
kids. And then to do
right,
anything for yourself is like, oh, why are you out partying? Why are you out drinking?
right,
Why are you spending money on yourself? Do your kids have everything they need? Like
right.
there's a stigma on top of the stigma. And I did not understand it at all until I became a mom. And then I realized that I was kind of part of it. I remember looking down on these women like when I was younger, like, oh, why are you buying like chicken nuggets and shit for your kids? Shouldn't you like cook them a meal? And now I'm sitting there like, I think
Girl,
my kids
yes.
eat Cheetos more than they eat anything.
Oh my gosh, yes. Mine just got some Cheetos today, girl. I'm like, yeah, no, yeah. Like, I do think sometimes we do find ourselves being a little judgy, and then it comes down to like where we're like, yeah, sure, you can have that freaking bag of chips for dinner.
So I also want to throw out, guys, just for anyone that may be having thoughts, the suicide prevention line is always free to call. So I always want to put out that number. It's the 1-800-273-TALK. And you can always call that number if you ever need to talk to anybody. I always want to throw that out there whenever we're talking mental health. Um, but you know, that, like I said, that was just an aspect that I wasn't prepared for. I think like the depression part, like I was like, okay, like might get some mood swings. I might not get some sleep. What I wasn't ready for was trying to find myself after being a mom, because we get so into our kids, you know, obviously we love our children, but then it's like you kind of lose yourself a little bit, and then you got to figure out who you are and who, like, what kind of person you want to be, and find that juggle between mom and, do I want a career, do I want to do something else, like, And then you're thrust with like, okay, daycare. Oh, I'm making 16 an hour and a nanny wants 18 an hour. So what
Right.
the hell am I going to do? Like,
It's
you're,
stressful. Yeah, it's super stressful.
and I think if we got anything out of COVID, it was realizing how much stuff we can do from home. And a lot of people realizing they wanted to have their own businesses and their own income, because relying on someone else for your income, and then the world goes to shit and everything shuts down, and all of a sudden you got bills and no job.
Right. And I think like, so I was just thinking back, I was thinking about what you just said, and like daycare and things like that. With my third child, I was actually diagnosed with postpartum depression and put on meds. But I feel like too, like it's hard because like what the hell? Like you have all this stuff, and then to have that and you're trying to take care of your own shit. No, like I'm just gonna put it out there. Like trying to take care of your own shit, but like on top of that, like I feel like they almost make it impossible sometimes. Like I don't know. And like yeah, like you said, where daycare and then yeah, COVID made it worse. Sorry, like yeah, speaking of
Children.
yeah, like what? I don't even know. Sometimes, and like that's another whole ball game of stress. Like, what are you trying to say, little people? Like, what do you want? Okay.
Yeah. And it's like,
No,
so
mommy. I don't want it's a movie.
I don't know how to turn that on, buddy. He wants to watch Elf, and I don't know how to get it on for him. So.
that's why I always buy the DVD.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm like, okay, here, let me see. Oh, girl. Okay. And then let's see, with the twins, I had it as well. So then I had one after that, and then one as well. But like, I actually did have the whole like suicidal thoughts and things like that. So it's just, it's tough because it's like we're supposed to take care of ourselves so we can take care of them. But sometimes I feel like with so many stressors that we have as women and mothers, especially new like postpartum, how are we supposed to do that? Like how do we do
Yeah,
that? You know?
it's a whole new ball game. And what you forget is, to be a good mother for them, you gotta, like, you have to be happy to be happy for them. Like, it has to start within. You're not going to
Right.
be a good mother if you're miserable,
Right.
because no matter how hard you try, like, it's all internal.
Yeah. When you don't want to
And
get off the couch, when you're depressed, like how are you supposed to take care of them when you struggle with just taking care of yourself? Yeah, exactly.
so it definitely starts from within, and that's where people kind of make that mistake with that stigma, is like, me getting out for a night or taking care of myself or going to get my hair done or my nails did or whatever. Like, those are little things that just make me still feel like I have myself. They still,
Exactly. A sense of
like,
you.
it's something to just keep me sane and to feel like I'm still getting something out of this, even though obviously raising children is amazing and an opportunity that some people don't get, and I'll never take that for granted.
I can't win today. I can't win.
So I was actually looking up like the statistics on it because I wanted to be fancy, and it said 1 in 7 will so it said diagnosed. So I want everyone to remember when they hear these numbers, that this just says diagnosed. So there's probably twice this that go undiagnosed, because we sit there and we don't want to go to the doctor about it because we don't want to be labeled a certain way.
Right.
But says, so for about every 4 million births, 600,000 women will be diagnosed.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
which is still already a huge number, but you just
Mm-hmm.
say diagnosed. That's the big kicker right there, is diagnosed.
Right.
Because I never went to the doctor for it. I looked for, mine was more, I guess, PPA versus PPD. I wasn't having any like suicidal thoughts or anything. I just like worried and stressed out and thinking that I was a terrible mother and having a lot of anxiety about it. Hey guys, so First of all, I just want to apologize for the choppy editing of this video. We ended up having a lot going on during this episode. Poor Karen, both of her twins ended up getting sick and she had to go pick them up, but it was at different times. All of this happening during the episode. But I had to edit this part out because for some reason the connection or the software we were using to do the episode bugged out, and so my voice is high, then it's low, and it's all over the place, and then some of it's cut out. But I'm talking about my anxiety manifesting physically, and I would get heart palpitations and stuff like that. And then also I'm talking about watching friends of mine go through issues with finding the right medication for their depression and anxiety. So I attempted to find alternate means before going down that route, even though there's absolutely nothing wrong with that route. And I found the amazing and beautiful Stacia Robitaille, and I talked about it in my episode, the mindfulness meditation, and how much it did for me. And then we pick up after this. But once again, guys, sorry about the kind of choppy editing here. Just one of those victims of circumstance that day. Thanks, guys. It weirdly, it really helped me. And I did a 6-hour seminar with her where we practiced different ways to meditate and talked about different ways to direct the thought process during patterns of clusterfucks. And it was really nice, and it completely changed. I found it about 2 or 3 months into having the boys, and it changed my ball game and really made me feel a lot better. And I still use it to this day. I actually bought this book that was mindfulness for mothers. I gotta find the actual name of the book, but it was 5-minute mindfulness stuff that you can do during the day to kind of woo-saw. And it's little tips of stuff that you can do to help. And it's a cool little thing because it helps your process, helps you be more aware of your mental thought process and where you start to veer off into the crazy.
Right. Yeah. No, those are all, and that's a really good healthy coping skill, the mindfulness matters is always a really good thing. And taking deep breaths is something simple too, until we can learn better coping skills. And I remember, this is so bad, but I remember, cause I was a young mom. So I didn't even know what I was doing. So I remember one time I was 18. I just got my first apartment, moved out, and my daughter was 2 at the time. And, she was just throwing a tantrum. I mean, you know how the 2s can be, right?
Yeah,
I feel
my boys are approaching that right now. And so
oh my gosh. Well, girl, just keep going, keep breathing, because just keep swimming, because the 3s are a whole different ballgame. But these twin 3s are something that I just, yeah, okay. So squirrel brain. And so she was throwing a fit, and I went to the bathroom, and I just locked myself in the bathroom. I didn't even know how to deal. It was so stressful. And I mean, it was better than that to hurt her or myself. Right. So
yeah,
I'm just yeah, I just remember shutting myself in the bathroom for a little bit and just crying, just crying because I didn't know what to do. And I was dealing with my own crap, yeah, it's bad. Our mental health is so important as moms because of things like that, for example.
And I actually got told by my doctor. So she was look, there's going to be times where you're going to get overwhelmed. And she was and the reality is that for the most part, they are not crying. So if you put them in their crib and make sure that they're fed, they're safe, they're good, and you just let them sit there and cry for a little bit while you gather yourself, go watch an episode of your favorite show or listen to some music for a minute and just kind of woo-saw for 20 minutes, they're going to be okay just sitting there crying for a minute in their cribs. It's okay.
Yeah.
If that's what you got to do to get a minute and compose yourself, there's they're going to be okay just sitting there crying. It's not going to hurt them.
Yeah, that is so good. Like I think when I had the twins, they had me sign something at the hospital, like, which is weird. I don't want to say weird, but it was new to me because I don't remember them doing this with my other children, but this must have been something new that they were like trying to make more awareness out of, because it was things like that. I had to sign a paper like, well, what are you going to do if you get too stressed out? Like, and then after I had the twins, I was working in the hospital and they were having all the moms, like new moms. It was something that they, I guess, had started where it was like, what are you going to do if you're stressed? Who can you call? Like you had to write it down, like who you could call, like, and what would be some
Get support.
de-stressing. Yeah, did you have to do that too? Like,
But honestly,
at first
like,
I was trying to say integrity, but I'm like, that's not it.
That's just one of those things, you know, and it was kind of cool for me, for my doctor to just be like, look, just let them cry. Like, they'll be all right.
Yeah.
If you need to gather yourself, go gather yourself. Watch an episode of a show, listen to a couple songs with your headphones on or something, and just walk to another room and gather yourself. And I had to do that a couple times. The father of my kids actually had a big, and this could be a whole nother episode right here alone, the fact that there's actually a male version of postpartum depression, which I did not know.
Oh my gosh, I just saw that. Wait a second. I just saw that. It said here, oh, I was looking up some stuff too. Where did I just see that? And I see, for me, you know, the fathers, yeah, so that's a different story, but okay. So it says new fathers can also experience symptoms of peripartum depression. And it says an estimated 4% of fathers experience depression in the first year after their child's birth. And that it says younger fathers, those with a history of depression, and fathers with financial difficulties are at an increased risk of experiencing depression. And this, I'll give a stat so that way I'm not just American Psychiatric Association, what is postpartum depression, is where I got this from.
Yeah, see, so I didn't even know that was a thing. But
me neither.
My fiance did have a history of depression. He had, you know, and it's not my story to tell, but he did have suicidal stuff that happened when he was a teenager. And so, and the poor thing, he had never been around kids his entire life.
Oh my goodness.
His brother has a son, but he was like his brother was like 17 when he got this girl pregnant, and then they were young and stupid, and so he didn't really even see the kid much until he got a little bit older. And so he had never been around kids before. So he's 33, these kids, and had no idea, I think, what he was getting himself into. And so it kind of brick. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would have never thought about that because I've always been a single mom, but like I just never would have thought that the fathers would have been affected as well. So that was pretty interesting. Like I literally was just like skimming over some stuff and I saw that and I was like, wow, that's interesting. Would not have guessed that.
To the, you know, that there's depression, because what ended up happening, I understood, you know, and I tried to be understanding, but it rift. And we actually want to do another episode about this, honestly. One of the episodes about the effect on relationships after kids. But it had an extra effect on my anxiety because I didn't feel like I had someone to lean on. So now it was like I almost felt like a single mother because he would have his moments and his little freakouts or whatever. And then I was by myself with two screaming kids. And it added to the pressure because then I was like, I don't have anyone to, like, if I feel like I need to break down, I don't have anybody. So I just gotta, it went back to the same kind of crap I had to deal with as a kid, where it's like I didn't have anyone to lean on, so I just had to fucking figure it out, gain my composure, like do what I had to do to like get on with the day and just fucking figure it out. And that in turn is like how I ended up kind of coming across that mindfulness stuff. And I made him go to his friend's house with the kids so I could do this 6-hour seminar and get my shit together. I'm like, look, you're going to give me a minute to for me to do this because, well,
Okay.
what you got to figure out, I got to figure it out too.
Right.
So that just adds to it. So now it's like you don't have, or as if you're a single mother, it's like you don't have family support system. Like if you don't feel like you got that person to lean on when you're starting to like, you can feel that tension building up and you can feel yourself about to lose it.
Right.
That just adds, it makes it even harder. And that's where it becomes internal and you start to feel like you're a bad mom because you're getting upset. And social media just makes it even worse because you see all these moms all happy, smiling with their kids
Right.
24/7. And you're
Right.
like, are there people who really enjoy this?
Right.
Let's be real. There's being a mom fucking sucks. This shit is not enjoyable 24/7, okay? I love my kids 24/7, but is there times where absolutely.
Yeah. That. Yeah. Oh, motherhood. Yeah, it can be hard AF. Like literally hard AF. I mean, because you
I
hurt when
cuss
they
like it's
hurt.
going out of style, but it's like, yeah, it's just, and that's like, it's almost like taboo to say that though, for like you to say anything bad about being a mother. I love being a
Yeah.
mother, but at the same time, it's definitely one of the hardest decisions I've ever made
Right.
because this shit is not easy. And it's like I said, I had never dealt with mental health issues before. I had friends who had dealt with it, and I was always a big supporter of mental health and everything, having watched friends and stuff go through it. But when it was thrust upon me for the first time, I was like, holy shit, this sucks. Like I had an idea, but I had no idea really what it felt like until that moment. And then I was like, wow, like, damn, this is not easy. All right, so I just wanted to circle back. I know that's a funny meme now. And kind of bring this full circle when it comes to mental health and like your weight gain and stuff, and how I think people don't realize that there actually is a stress hormone called cortisol that messes with your thyroid and makes it harder for you to lose weight and easier to gain weight. And so when you're stressing and you're having these mental health issues, there's actual stuff that's going on inside the body that makes this stuff happen. But you know, there's like the stigma of, oh, she got married and had kids and let herself go. Well, I don't know about you, but it's kind of hard to make super healthy meals with a newborn sometimes. Shit.
Well, yeah. Well, not only that, too, is I feel like the healthier stuff is more expensive. And obviously, there comes with costs with children, too. And yeah, the easier, like the quick meals aren't always the healthiest. And, you know, you find yourself doing like takeout or pizza or, you know what I mean? Like, because you're too tired to cook.
Yeah, and that's a real thing. Like I know, like it's kind of a something that people use as an excuse, but it really is $1 to get a hamburger and $7 to get a salad at Wendy's.
It's ridiculous.
So it's like, and then you got to worry about when you buy the lettuce and you buy the shit to do it at home, like it goes bad quick, and you buy it yesterday and then the next day it's got fucking mold on it, and you're like, well, there goes $8. Like, and so it's just, you know, inconvenience when you're trying to do all this stuff, and it's just easier to pop something in the fucking air fryer or some shit, you know, like. And so, you know, there's, it all comes down to stigmas, man. It really, you don't realize until you actually become a mother and you start to go through it yourself. You're like, even I'm like, damn, I was an asshole. Like, even I used to think this stuff. And now that it's like flipped in reverse, I'm like, well, shit, my bad.
Right. Well, yeah, that's what I think I was going to say earlier is the, like last night, you know, I made chili and trying to do like some healthier eating. So I had more lentils and beans in it than meat. And the kids were like, no, thank you. And so I'm just like, well, hey, well, then what else do you want to eat? Because, cereal. And I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. You get your riboflavin and your folic acids and like, fine, all your vitamins in the cereal, whatever, float your boat, go ahead. Like, and
I
before I'd be like,
figure
oh my God, you gave your kids cereal for dinner? Well, yeah, like as long as they're eating something,
they're not starving, so shut up.
right, exactly. Exactly. Like, I'm not letting them go to bed hungry. They want some cereal, eat you some cereal. Have at it.
And I feel like with mental health, with motherhood, that is one big contributors, I think, of all the different stigmas, from being afraid to go to your doctor about how you're feeling and the thoughts that you're having, to being afraid what the fuck your neighbor's gonna say about the way that your kids are acting or how you're doing, or like a damn mess. Like, I literally am on my way to the grocery store as we speak in my pajamas. Like,
All right.
kiss my ass, okay? Like, all of my shit is still on the moving truck on the way to my new house, and I'm living off like the same 5 outfits that I keep having to wash.
Well, and I think too, sometimes we can be so judgy with like when you see a mom at the store who's in her pajamas or her hair's a hot mess or whatever. Like, girl, I literally will go to sleep in the same t-shirt that I had on the day before and then wake up and be like, yep, I'm still in the same t-shirt. Just like give me a minute to get myself changed and get myself together here. Like, because they come first. Like, I wake up, get them ready, and it's like people just automatically assume like different things, in their head. Like, and it's like, hold on, at least they're taken care of and their hair is combed and their teeth are brushed and whatever.
Yeah, it's it all comes back to what works for one mom isn't going to work for another mom. And there's things that you're going to go through and you're going to feel, and what I've noticed, you can say something with one mom and they're going to understand. The majority of moms kind of will understand each other, and then there's like the Karen mom who makes all the organic lunches for her kids and shit, and
Oh
I'm like,
shit,
yeah,
you
okay,
said
whatever.
Karen, mom.
You're Karen with an I, though.
Right, right. But you don't know what that mom is battling too, though. We're talking about mental health and like, shoot, maybe it took her a lot just to get up and go to the store. Period. Like maybe it
That's
was
true. That's
just,
true.
you know what I'm
See, I'm a
saying?
judge. I'm a judgmental asshole, and that's something that I work on a daily, because
I
I'm
mean,
just that
listen, I'm
person.
not perfect. I try not to do that too, but you know what? Like, there's also me who, like, I used to give a crap. Like, I had to make sure, like, I can't go out in public like this. Now I'm like, you know what? I got slippers on my feet right now. Like, I wear these slippers everywhere I go, like, to the store. Like, I used to care, and I'm like, I do not care anymore. Like, I got to get to the grocery store. I got to take advantage when I can. I'm not about to spend all this time getting primed and primped and whatever the heck it's called just to go get some dinner tonight anymore. I don't care.
Well, and it's like the part of the country I'm in right now, we're getting hit with all these random ass tornadoes and shit right now. So I'm like, you know what? I gotta make sure I got shit in the pantry just in case right now.
I know that's
Okay.
right. Like, get to the store when you
So
can. You got to get it where you can with kids for real.
I can see these clouds rolling in as we speak right now, and I'm like, well,
Yep.
I might
I
not
feel
be able
it.
to get
Well,
out for a
you
couple
you need to
days.
be safe. Yeah, make sure you get what you got to get. Be safe and man, prayers for you over that way for real.
It's
Heck to
funny,
the
like
yes.
I went from one extreme to another. You got Cali and the earthquakes and shit. I live right on the top of Texas, right at the Oklahoma border. So we're like right at the tip end of Tornado
This
Alley,
girl
like
gonna
right at the
ask me.
end.
Right. She
But
left.
it's not too bad. I haven't actually seen one living out here, knock on wood, but I have been surrounded by them at one point. Like every town around me had
No.
one.
That's
But
crazy.
I think this conversation could probably go on for like days, because there's so much different ways that it could branch off.
Oh,
Like
for sure.
talking about, the effect on your relationships and the effect on your body and the weight gain and all the stuff that goes with that. And I think we'll have many more episodes branching off into these other topics. And Twin Mom has to be an episode too, because
For
that is a
real.
whole different ballgame.
It is. Yes.
And see, you've had single and you've had twins, so you can know the difference. I've only had twins, so I'm like, I don't even know what it's like to just have one.
You started it off with a bang.
So, it's just, I just want mothers out there to know that there's no right or wrong way to be a mother. As long as your children are happy and healthy and fed and have a place to sleep at night and they love you and you love them, you are doing a great job.
Amen.
It does not matter if you're eating ramen noodles or you're cooking a 5-star dinner, if you're going to the store in your pajamas and slippers, or if you're going dressed like Kim Kardashian, okay? It does not matter.
Yep.
There's no right or wrong way, and there's no shame in getting help, whether it's getting medication, going to therapy, or doing my route, which was finding alternative methods out there like mindfulness, meditation, whatever works for you and gets you got to be your best to be the best mother.
Yes.
So don't feel like selfish for having to work on yourself first, because at the end of the day, you're not going to be the top mother that you could be if you're having all these issues inside, and your kids are going to see it.
Right.
Kids are so much more aware of stuff that we give them credit for, and whether or not you say it out loud, they're going to feel the energy coming off of you.
Oh yes, that is 100% true. Coming from somebody who has kids of all ages, they will definitely call you out. You have to fill your cup first in order to be able to be there for them. So make sure that you are taking care of yourself and putting. It's not selfish.
No, it's almost it's like a pyramid. You gotta have the bottom of the pyramid in order to build everything else up. If there's a hole or a crack at the bottom, the entire thing's gonna tumble.
Right.
It's not gonna be able to stand. You might be able to like fill it in with some fucking cement or some shit for a little bit, but eventually you're gonna have to work on that foundation before anything else works out.
Very true. So true.
So, like I said, the 800 number, if anyone is ever having any not so nice thoughts, is 1-800-273-TALK. It's a free service. I believe if you go on the website too, there's a texting option if you're like me and you hate talking on the phone. I believe there's a texting option as well, and it's always free. And you don't got to worry about breaking the bank to talk to somebody or trying to get a therapist or some shit. These people are there for you to talk to.
Awesome.
So I wanted to thank you, ma'am, I know it's been a crazy day for us both and technical difficulties galore. So be nice to me, guys, when I'm editing this, because it might be all over the place. But that is another aspect of motherhood, man. Shit's going to come up and there's going to be crying babies in the background and you're going to have to talk while you're on the way to the grocery store. Shit's just going to happen. Sometimes you can't just sit at a desk and record your episode and everything's peaceful. Sometimes you got to work on the go.
Right. And it's going to happen in life. And that's why you need to be prepared and have a strong foundation with your mental health.
100%. Never feel ashamed to have a bad day because shit happens.
Exactly.
So I think next episode we should definitely venture into something fun. Since we'll do, this one's serious. Maybe we'll do fun next and then serious after that. We'll go back and forth so that we're not too depressing.
Right. And they're like, oh my God, all this shit is so serious, man.
Well, I want to thank you for lovely conversation and for being such a beautiful co-host. I'm so happy to have someone on here to chat with. I was getting worried talking to myself all the time.
No, I love it. Yes. Thank you so much for having me on here. And I definitely love how we have two different aspects with momhood, as well as we have the twins, that's what we share, but also we just have different experiences with being a mom and
life.
Life. So it's good.
And I want to thank my awesome fan base that we are developing. You guys are so cool. We are almost at 200 listens.
Nice.
We were in like Spotify said we were listened to in like 8 different countries, which
Ooh,
is
I love that.
amazing. So I'm like, just thank you guys for listening. And I know sometimes my podcast isn't always the most professional sounding. I don't have the like greatest equipment in the world right now, obviously, and stuff. We're building up. But your listens and your likes and all that stuff just mean the world. And we're going to just keep going up from here. So I just want to thank you guys.
Yes. Much
So
love.
listen, share with your friends, all that jazz, all the likes, subscribes, and all that stuff, no matter what platform you're listening on. And we will see you guys next time.
Yes, take care.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening. We really, really appreciate it. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Fit Trends with Presley Christine. You like and subscribe to the YouTube. Leave comments about what other topics you want us to talk about. And look out for future episodes that are going to be video recorded and uploaded to YouTube so you can see our beautiful faces. And just thank you guys so much for all the love and support. And don't forget to check out the newly opened merch store. It is www.fittrendswithpresleychristine.myshopify.com. There is a sale going on as we speak for yours truly's birthday. So it'll go, my birthday's on the 13th. It'll go until February 14th, Valentine's Day. Hashtag, well, not hashtag, but birthday girl is the code that gets you 40% off all orders 25 and up. So thank you guys so much. We really love and appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening.